I have Satan actually infiltrating my fantasy football team, and I don't fucking like it. So, before I get started talking about my 1-4 fantasy record, we've got some breaking news. About 3.5 years too late, Robert Saleh has been fired as head coach from the New York Jets. Who would have thunk it? This guy has had a losing record every season. He has ran a first-round QB pick into the ground. I want to say multiple first-rounders, but I could be wrong. We'll take a look at that here in a sec, but he's gone. So that can only mean good things for fantasy. Maybe not for my team. Now this is a segment I like to call the absolute most ridiculous fucking thing you've ever seen. Patrick Mahomes barrels into Rashee Rice's knee. We all know he's an idiot. He doesn't know how to do anything but throw the ball and run an offense. Stay away from tackling, buddy. You're not that good at it. This picture perfectly depicts my season. I mean, 1-4, takes out my number one wide receiver. Kyle Shanahan doesn't let me know, oh, hey, by the way, Christian McCaffrey's got tendonitis in both ACLs. He's going to go to Germany and get, state-of-the-art freaking blood transfusions into his legs to make sure we can get him back. Well, Kyle Shanahan, I need him back this week. Thank you, sir. Going back to Rashee Rice. From what I'm hearing, it's not an ACL. It's not an MCL. It's not a meniscus. Apparently, he has a ligament torn. 18 hours ago, I got an update saying Rashee Rice out for the season. And 3 hours ago, I get an update saying, oh, well, he could be back before mid-December. These guys make millions of dollars a year just to identify what's wrong with the player. And you can't take him to get an MRI and actually figure out what the fuck is wrong. I mean, come on now. I mean, he hasn't already had surgery? I mean, I'm absolutely beside myself. There is no way these people don't know what's going on. They're keeping it in the dark from people like me who have a fantasy season banking on it. I mean, I don't have a felony. Why am I being punished? Some other notable injuries on the week. George Kittle, once again, may not play due to ribs. He's on Charles's team, and he will go into every week as a game time decision for the rest of the year with either a rib or a groin injury, because that's what you get when you draft George Kittle. Sorry about it. Also on Charles's team, Devon Achane, questionable with a concussion. Well, that's not very questionable because he got rocked. Oh my goodness. Why are they even playing their starting lineup at this point? I mean, honestly, Tyreek Hill's the only seasoned professional on this team at this point, and they just need to hand him the ball and absolutely run it down the field. I mean, they cannot pass to save their lives. Who are they going to get in here that can throw the ball more than 10 yards deep? I mean, they are throwing interceptions. Every defense playing against them is hitting 16 points in our league. I mean, there is nothing that is redeemable about this Dolphins offense that, I mean, I've seen. And if you have, I mean, I watch Red Zone, and they're never in it. Let me put it that way. Moving on to Aaron Jones. I know I couldn't say much about him last week, but this week he is questionable with a hip injury. With that being said, he may actually turn to dust before week 17, so you heard it here first. Moving on to Jonathan Taylor. I truly think that looking at him tells us a lot about the state of the running back position moving forward in the NFL. The NFL's moving on to pass-catching running backs, little bitty shifty guys, coming in with 2,000-yard seasons, but only 100 carries and 300 catches. I mean, this is probably going to be one of the last guys we see come in and actually run an offense for the next 6 years to be, a Hall of Fame running back, and they're going to leave hurting. Devin Singletary is still hurt. And good news for the Eagles, because, oh my God, what a nightmare this team has been. Anybody who drafted Jalen Hurts in any league has been the most disappointed fantasy player of all time. I mean, we're talking A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith out for multiple weeks. A.J. Brown was on pace to be just an absolute unit this year. And, man, I guess that's what happens when you get old. Nico Collins. I mean, I really need this guy to play. C.J. Stroud has not lived up to my expectations this year. He hasn't been the worst. Not worse than Jalen Hurts. But he hasn't been the best either. I need Nico to get in there, make some separation happen, and just absolutely disrupt these defenses so C.J. Stroud can go absolutely the fuck off, and we can continue this, upward motion of quarterback play rather than me thinking about picking up Sam Darnold off of the waiver wire. And as I said last week, I saw Malik Neighbors go down pretty freaking hard. I mean, I thought he had 2 concussions back-to-back because Daniel Jones is just the absolute worst. I don't know why he's in the NFL, to be honest with you. Probably just because they paid him, $300 million. But long story short, Malik Neighbors is just too good not to be on the field, but he's way too good to push through a concussion protocol. I do think he's going to be out again this week. He needed to be out for 2 weeks, and Drake, for your sake, I hope he is, because he does not need another hit like that. And to be honest with you, I didn't see this coming either. I mean, Puka out after week 1 with a PCL injury and is expected to be out for another month. I mean, what are we doing here? I mean, this fantasy season has just been ridden with injuries. We have not seen the likes of this since COVID. Crossing my fingers we don't see much more of it. We just need to keep Pat Mahomes out of the tackling game. K-Wade's team is looking surprisingly healthy. I mean, what do we have here? A Khalil Shakir injury, may not play due to ankle. I mean, that is a little bit of a hit to the team. He's a decent flex. But, I mean, man, we've got Terry McLaurin. He's really blowing it up with Jaden Daniels. Let's check him out real quick. We're looking at, after they locked in, he has not gotten less than 13 points a game. This guy's a locked-in WR2 with some freaking upside weekly. I mean, with Robert Saleh missing, the possibilities are endless with the Jets. Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers. It doesn't matter if he's old. It doesn't matter if he, tore his Achilles tendon on the first play after running into a dark New York Jets stadium with an American flag last year. What a total nightmare that has been. But, they played in England last week in the mud. You can only imagine they're out there doing their thing and bringing in Devonta Adams to the mix. We could actually have a contending Jets team rest of season if the interim head coach, who I believe is the current defensive coordinator, does anything differently, which in my opinion should probably be letting Aaron Rodgers just run the offense. Merrick, you are Barkley holding on. I'm right there with you, buddy. I cannot believe this season, but I told you last week, Zach Moss, out of here. Let's go Chase Brown. This guy has absolutely tore it up with minimal touches, 50% of touches week over week. I've thrown him into multiple trades for you. I've sent him your way. You have swerved me like no other. I mean, let's make something happen, brother. Let's make something happen. I mean, take a look. I mean, 14 points, 5 points, 20 points, 17 points. I mean, it's inconsistent, but it's okay. I mean, we saw it on the Colts. As soon as there was a better running back, Zach Moss out, Jonathan Taylor in. We see it here on the Bengals. As soon as Zach Moss is out, Chase Brown's in. There's always someone better somehow, and this guy is always going to be going to a team for the rest of his career to build up a player right behind him. Moving on to the healthiest team in our league, that'd be Tree Sentinels. I mean, he's 3-2. He's in 5th place. This guy's got, quite a bit going on here. He's drafted an absolute gold mine for healthy players. The $300 fab on Jerry Jeudy was questionable at best. And Breece Hall has not been living up to expectations, nor has Travis Kelce. Chris Olave's got Derek Carr throwing to him. Man, I see your team going places, but, man, we're going to work on a few things this year, man. You could be a contender for the championship if they stay healthy. Let me put it that way. Looking at my matchup here against the Washington Rednecks this week, thank you, JD, for putting an absolute beat down on me during a semi-blow-up week for myself. I would have liked to gotten quite a bit more from multiple players. Let's dive in. Honestly, I saw the CJ Stroud, Jaden Daniels play. I mean, it works out. 22 and 25. Jaden Daniels is going off this year. I'm going to hand it to him. That was a great pick. The guy's got massive rushing upside and just knows how to run an offense. I mean, he has got like an 80% completion rate on the year, and I've never seen anything like it. I mean, this guy is tearing it up. Drake London blows the fuck up for 33 points. The Falcons probably had one of the best games of football and the most enjoyable games of football I've had the pleasure of watching in 2 or 3 years. I mean, what an incredible game versus Tampa Bay. Baker Mayfield's been going off, and Kirk just locked the fuck in and threw over 500 yards for over 50 points on our waivers. Before we go any further, let's take a look. So in case you're confused about how our quarterback scoring works, rushing quarterbacks, they're scored just like running backs. They get the 1 point per 10 yards run. So your Lamar Jacksons, your Jaden Daniels, your Jalen Hurts, these guys that are going to have a lot more rushing upside, they're going to be able to win leagues. And whenever we realized that, we changed it up a little bit to give a little bit more to these guys that pass, especially on days that they pass very well. So, at 400 yards, they get a bonus. At 450 yards, they get a bonus. At 500 yards, they get a bonus. And it happens so rarely that it really is an outlier. And when I tell you, this is one of the most incredible games of football I've ever seen by a veteran quarterback, I am not lying. This guy is a unit. He is going to run this offense. He is going to take them to the playoffs. I'm calling it here. He's going to make it happen, and we just can't do anything about it. Drake London, WR1. I mean, probably rest of season rankings, number 8 wide receiver on the year, rest of year. With that being said, into the first, beginning of the second quarter of this game, I got an update. I'm sitting right here at this computer. I'm watching. I'm talking to Charles and a couple of the guys, and I say, Darnell Mooney dropped. What? I go in to look a little bit deeper. Darnell Mooney dropped for Javonte Williams. Hayden, I love you, brother. I love you more than a brother. I love you like you could do the worst possible thing to me. You could slit my throat and I would die saying, I want to have your babies. But that was quite possibly the most questionable decision I think you have ever made in fantasy football. Darnell Mooney is the deep threat on a newly revitalized Atlanta Falcons, and newly revitalized. We'll see how that plays out. But wow, every week flex for Javonte Williams when you've got a healthy Eckler and an unhealthy Brian Robinson on the Commanders, when you're needing to just start a guy, man, you could have done better. Now, going into the rest of this matchup, we've got the Drake London 33-point play. We've got the Jaden Reed 13. Don't know what the fuck happened there. I mean, game script has just absolutely torn me to pieces this year. The players that go off, they go off on my bench. It always happens. I mean, what do we do? What do we do with this team, man? I mean, I've just got an incredible lineup of players, and I mean, their quarterbacks are taking their knees out. They're going off on my bench. Our pets' heads are falling off. I mean, what the fuck? Kyren Williams with a decent day. He drops 15. I mean, this guy's an absolute unit. 14, 16, 31, 20, 15. I mean, if anything, he is consistent. This guy is absolutely a top 5 running back rest of season as long as he stays healthy. He's young. He's charged the fuck up. And he is ready to go. I watched Blake Corum get stuffed at the goal line 3 consecutive plays just to see Kyren Williams come in and run it the fuck through that defensive line for the tutty. Let's fucking go. Jordan Mason, I mean, what can I say? He is doing everything I can ask him to do as a backup running back. I mean, this guy has absolutely just saved the San Francisco 49ers season. Kyle Shanahan, you're a cocksucker. Bring Christian McCaffrey back. Kyle Shanahan, I actually hate you. I hate you for giving me hope that Christian McCaffrey would be healthy for week 1. I hate you for seeing Christian McCaffrey in all these commercials and me knowing that the only reason that you didn't tell us was so he could get all of his fucking deals made and go fucking sell Progressive before, halftime commercials and all this other bullshit that you wanted him to be able to fucking take advantage of. I mean, this guy is an absolute unit. Yeah, his legs hurt a little bit. I guarantee you he's told you he's good to play, and you're just holding him out because, I mean, you've got Deebo Samuel. You've got Jawan Jennings. You've got Jordan Mason. You've got George Kittle. I mean, your fucking entire offense is an injury designation, and this is the guy that you decide to take out. Christian motherfucking McCaffrey. That's all I've got to say about it. So moving on to the New York Jets and the Minnesota Vikings. An 8:30 a.m. game. I was up till 4 a.m. I didn't give a fuck. But I woke up. I woke up around 11:30 and said, So Garrett Wilson decided to drop 29 points today. He decided to drop 29 points the week Drake London drops 33. The week Deontay Johnson drops 5. Because, Bears defense, whatever, they're alright. He just couldn't lock in. But 29 points on 17 to 23? I mean, what an absolute nightmare for me. I mean, great for you, JD. I mean, you needed the win too, bro. Now you're 2-3. I mean, I couldn't be more happy for you. But what do I say? What do I say? Alvin Kamara with the 12. He didn't even need it. Mike Evans with the 23. I beat him out. I beat him out on everything. At least I thought I did. And, Kyle Pitts decides to catch a ball for the first time this year. Wan'Dale Robinson is apparently a WR1 when Malik Neighbors is out. Pittsburgh's defense, I mean, 101 return yards and 2 interceptions. I mean, Dak fucking Prescott, can you get your shit together for 5 minutes for me to win a fantasy game? For 5 minutes. Even when I don't draft the Cowboys, they fuck me. So, that's all I've got to say about that. I speak a lot about the fantasy gods. I think they're real. I think the fantasy gods are absolutely out there. They're up in the sky. They tell me, this is who you're looking out for this year. I'm putting somebody on my bench about 4 or 5 weeks before they have that blow-up game. Your Jonathan Taylors, your Justin Jeffersons, everybody that's ever gone off in our league that happened to be on my team and I lost anyways. This year, I think I've been personally attacked by the fantasy devil. Point total, 666. What does that tell you? Nothing good. I have Satan actually infiltrating my fantasy football team, and I don't fucking like it. So what am I going to do about it? I'm not going to lose another game this season. I'm going to eat the forbidden fruit. I'm going to gain the knowledge of the fantasy football gods. I'm going to pray to them. I'm going to burn a lamb in my backyard tonight just so Toby Keith can come and give me a heads up on who's going to fucking drop a solid fucking 30 on my team next week so they're not on my bench. Now finally, for our stinker of the week, the one we didn't need, Cody versus Drake. Like a good neighbor, we don't really need him because we drop 135 and go 4-1 without him. Kudos to you, Drake. You are a brand new fantasy player and you continue to show us why we should stop playing. We got to do something about this, man. I do actually have some incredible news this week, believe it or not. And no, I'm not talking about me figuring out what the fuck has been wrong with my audio on the final clip of this video. I'm talking about me raising the stakes. That's right. They've been risen. I need you guys to be motivated. I need you guys to be calm, cool, and collected. The exact opposite of what I am showing you over the past 20 minutes if you've made it this far. I'm adding $100 to the championship. This year, instead of $450, the champion is getting $550. Second place gets their buyback, and second place gets next year's buy-in covered. So what about that, guys? Are we going to see some 9th ranked teams go to first? Are we going to see 10th go to third? Are we going to see 6th go to first? I sure fucking hope not. I can't see a three-peat. If I do, then so be it. I mean, it'll be the only one we've ever had. So, we'll see what happens. But the stakes have risen. I'm out!
I wish you would step back from that ledge, my friend. You could cut time.